No, it wouldn't be the one from a day ago. That was, yeah. So if the most recent one is the one from a day ago, then we're chilling. Except I just restarted the stream, so actually no, we're not chilling. I gotta go delete the VOD on Kick now too. God damn it! Why do I? This is what I get for caring about other people. I just wanted to give you guys something to watch, and now I have to. I gave myself a bunch of work. This is how much I care about you guys. Also, all right, dude. Here's a question. Here, I have a question for you guys. All right. So you see my profile picture on Kick, the smiling cat. Do you prefer that or my Discord profile pic? Which one is preferable? I still don't see a VOD on Kick actually. Maybe it takes a while to publish. Or it's... oh. I think we're fine. I'll just delete the one... my videos... Wait, I have an wait, on YouTube I have an active community guideline strikes. What? Oh, this was a long time ago. And my appeal got rejected. It was for you streaming with copyrighted music. It was way back when I was streaming the Overwatch 2 bit. Like when Overwatch 2 first came out. I got freaking banned on my first stream for having copyrighted music. That's the whole reason why up here it says above my hand cam, it says the band. Because, and this band has already given everyone permission to use their, stuff. So, because I'm streaming on YouTube again and I don't want to get banned again. Because that's bullshit, dude. All the DMCA stuff is just so lame. Okay. Now I will get you guys a video. Now that I have undone my fuck up. I promise as I go I will get better at having these things ironed out before the stream. Oh, I'm actually interested in this video. Okay, let's watch this. Promise you I will get better at having things ironed out.
2023 and in esports the word it's 2023 and in esports the word franchising is basically a curse. Franchise leagues guarantee spots for paying franchise.
I liked Valorant esports a bit more before franchising. I still like it, but not quite as much.
In 2023, people are starting to blame the franchising model for all sorts of things.
It also, like, every esport that has done franchising has gone downhill very fast. It happened to League of Legends, it happened to Overwatch, and I think it's happening a little bit to Valorant because you're reliant on that franchise for money, and a lot of these franchises are realizing that esports currently operates at pretty much a net loss. Which means as soon as they realize it, they lose funding and everyone gets fired, and then the esports scene goes downhill. So until we find a way to make esports more profitable It's not really, and a big reason is I think esports players are paid too much, and there's too much like bells and whistles in there. It needs to be, until esports gets bigger, it needs to grow slowly. People try to jump straight into like basketball player salaries. No. Make the orgs profitable and grow them as the scene grows, so that we don't have teams just like going straight up going under, because then the whole scene dies. You have to grow slowly.
But let's take a quick flyover of the issue. Where did franchising come from? How did it do? And should we even keep trying this thing now?
Will play with me. Does real sport get money from governments?
Wanted to give you a quick reminder to like the video
not in the US, I don't think. There might be like some like subsidies or something maybe for like our soccer team.
I really like putting together these kinds of videos, so let me know down in the comments if this video was useful for you or maybe for somebody else you know. Cheers. Okay, so for this video, we're gonna go back to 2012. Back then, most esports that you would be familiar with operated under an open circuit format where teams could qualify themselves for tournaments, travel to attend them, and then normally there would be 1 or 2 championships spaced however far apart. More structured leagues that involved partnerships have been tried before, including the ill-fated CGS, but the circuit model kind of outlived it. Now, if you watch Call of Duty or Halo back in the day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A group of guys could qualify.
It was Call of Duty?
Well enough to earn that Dr. Pepper sponsorship.
Dr. Pepper sponsorship? Dude, I love Dr. Pepper. I would love to be sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
But maybe foremost,
not just for the money,
them was the fact that they could just self-organize and then reap the benefits of that organization for themselves. And it's also pretty easy to see why developers would like this model too. They don't have to do much. They don't have to hire much staff, and tournament organizers simply operate with their blessing for the most part. Basically, the game is getting talked about, it has a chance to make headlines, be in the popular culture, and the developer didn't have to do too much. But as esports grew, this model in particular started to see some pushback from some interested parties.
I'm moving.
Firstly, the developer was exercising only limited control over their product. And to be clear, I'm not saying that they couldn't exercise control over it.
I'm wondering if there's a way to see through Xbox which account has my Game Pass. Because like not having Reyna is like it's not playable. Like my whole strat isn't playable. I have to do this.
In Freak's basement, but the rest of the year is mostly circuit type events like IEMs and DreamHacks. Now that changed in 2013 when Season 3 introduced regionally based leagues for North America and Europe, but the spots in those leagues were still subject to performance. This relegation meant that there were always stakes, even for the lowest ranked teams in a league, because if you didn't do well enough and you got sent to the promotion tournament, you got relegated, you weren't playing in the league anymore. Now to some, this seemed to make an already existing problem even worse, namely the revolving door of player names and team names that tends to happen when you have an open circuit and open qualification.
Do you like the new knife? I love it. I already got it. I've been waiting for a good fan for a long time. That's probably the knife I have flip-flopped the hardest on. I used to think the fan was terrible, but it has grown on me. I'll be honest, I don't like Sinatra that much, but he's kind of made the fan cool. Just like, because I think like when you're like swinging the fan around while having good movement, it just looks really nice. So it's almost like having the fan equipped like gives me a movement buff, because I feel like I'm like, oh, my movement's gonna be insane because I have the fan, like a placebo effect kind of thing.
That esports could have a real future as a form of entertainment. So after 2012, we start to see Riot assert more direct control over their leagues. And for the next 5 years, the level of play and the level of the entertainment itself continue to climb. Other companies were skeptical of this new shift, notably Valve, who basically kept to the open circuit model in both Counter-Strike and Dota 2. Dota 2 had the International, a massive barn burner tournament at the end of the year, and both games had officially sanctioned majors, but they didn't go into the league format like Riot did. By 2015, it's clear that Riot's bet on their leagues has paid off. The game itself is doing incredibly well, viewership is good, and there are some big names looking to spend money in the league. Even with the threat of relegation though, I want to note that the spots in these unfranchised regional leagues were still worth money. Some organizations figured it out early, like Cloud9, and they regularly fielded rosters of either aspiring or benched pros to earn these spots and sell them. Now, there were big names starting to spend money in these leagues, including paying for regional spots, for example. But there was an increasing feeling that the idea that one of these spots could just evaporate if the players lost it was kind of
I don't have a choice. I got to go through every account.
So during this time, there were some big names from sports and entertainment splashing money on League of Legends, but there was also this feeling that it wasn't a great investment if, you know, your players might lose, maybe something unforeseen happens, you have to find a replacement, and your team gets relegated, and you lose your spot and your investment. Blizzard also realized this, and they targeted their new game Overwatch for a flagship esports transformation.
Yeah, Overwatch is the big one.
Overwatch League was supposed to do nothing less than compete with the NFL, NBA, and MLB.
Yeah,
now, what
they realize it's not profitable yet. Esports is not ready.
Major esports by some wealthy investors. The money those investors used went to pay player salaries, staff salaries, other kinds of overhead, and in some cases, like the Overwatch League, those organizations even agreed to build real-world physical facilities to host home and away games for the new league. The problem with these franchise leagues is that it wasn't immediately clear where the consistent
Overwatch has some terrible bouncing though. Yes, that's true.
Come from.
It literally it wasn't any one thing. Overwatch.
The cracks in this model really.
Overwatch literally like every single thing they could have done wrong, they did wrong in every category.
Overwatch League. And as the scandals piled up for Activision
anyone who
Blizzard,
doesn't agree is an Overwatch player who's just coping because their game is a sinking ship.
Of the company's reputation. In 2023, Overwatch League teams
actual copium if someone actually thinks like anything was handled well. Literally everything handled poorly. Everything.
In the face of what they were experiencing. And they got it. Their outstanding franchise fees have been waived, and that's a solution that might even be applied to the Call of Duty League, which also launched in 2020. We have to be clear that we don't know exactly what will happen with the Overwatch League. It's possible it will still have franchise.
Please be. I mean, please don't be this account.
What does seem clear is that the structure of the league will undergo some substantial changes to accommodate this.
Please don't be this account. Please don't be. Oh, thank Christ.
I
don't remember the email for this account, so it.
But even there, it's clear that
unlike it, I would have had to remember the email.
Down. Specifically, Riot Games asked
that is a
for
relief.
Teams to field an academy roster, and that upset the players union and kicked off a dispute. Now, that dispute has been resolved. The season has been salvaged. We've got a whole video on that if you want to check it out. But again, let's recognize that the reason this whole dispute started was a desire to reduce costs for franchise teams. League franchising, which started in 2017 and then spread to other regions, has been a much easier pill to swallow for fans, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. For me, it's
League franchising was a slow and painful death for the game.
Has damaged the level of play in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Especially if you go back and look at those first couple years under the system, you'll see
it made everything boring.
Who were either unwilling or incapable.
It made everything boring, and it made everything. Like, the problem is that when you have these big public organizations tied to your players have to watch everything they say, and everything becomes lamer. Like, I'm sorry, like, this might be a controversial take. Shit talking is a part of gaming and sports in general. And I'd say even more than, like, soccer and basketball, esports players aren't allowed to say fucking anything. Because esports is so like closely tied to social media at this point and the internet that anything you say gets blown up way harder, where it because your whole career is based off an online pursuit, you like, it's almost like the org that you're a part of like strips away your personality and then says this is what you're allowed to say, don't say anything else, and it just makes it boring. Like, I want, like, a big part of esports is
League
the
of Legends
personalities,
seems pretty
and it takes away the personalities.
Whatever Blizzard did, and I didn't talk about StarCraft 2 in this video because I didn't have time, nor did I talk about
the old League cinematics. Yeah, the old League cinematics were hyped, dude.
Franchising test run towards the end of its life. But what about Valve's decision to keep their esports in more or less the open circuit model? Well, it paid off. And Counter-Strike, in my opinion, made the absolute best of that situation by having all these tournament organizers with different tones, different talent lineups.
Yeah, Valorant is doing it the best so far, but it's still
But even in the
I found it. I found it.
Counter-Strike, there were people who wanted to close it off for themselves.
Let's go,
According
baby.
to a report from esports journalist Richard Lewis last month, Valve told teams at the Paris Major that leagues with partnered teams were not part of the developer's preferred vision.
It was Power Metal vibes.
Both ESL and
oh my god, that's literally the first account I checked, and I thought it
have
said
their
it didn't
own
have
leagues
it.
that have these
What a waste of my
guaranteed
fucking
spots
time.
for partnered teams. Valve is against that. And you know what? They're right. We should always have the best teams playing, and it's up to the players and the teams themselves to earn those spots and show
That's true.
I do not give Valve many props because they, for the most part, they are too money interested to provide any kind of a support network for their esport, which is why they're like, their esports is so good because it is community driven. And that gives the players a lot of freedom, and it makes it more competitive because nobody's guaranteed their jobs. But having the whole scene run by the players themselves and the community, like Valve sponsors stuff, but like for the most part, it's the players and community that drive everything behind CSGO. Valve just jumped in after the players built it because they saw a money opportunity. For the most part, Valve is like too money interested to like actually like, you know what I'm saying. But this is something I will give Valve credit for. They made the right decision not doing franchising. That's why I'd say CSGO has the best esports scene and Valorant is a close second. Valorant's a very close second. And I think that's because of franchising. I think franchising made Valorant take a hit. Look at, all right, it just narrows down the teams too much. So like we are currently playing in a world where Ye is not playing in tier 1, madness. Trent is not playing in tier 1, madness. We had like, that's just 2 examples. Like you could come up with a whole bunch like of insane players who are not playing in tier 1 of the esport because of franchising, which I think makes it less exciting. Like it limits the pool of players too much and gives them too secure of a job. It makes it less competitive, less exciting. You see a lot of orgs and go downhill. So it would be very nice if they could backpedal on franchising in Valorant, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Belong there. So some franchise leagues seem to have crashed.
Yeah, isn't playing at all. No, he's playing.
And others seem to be.
He's trying to jump onto he was playing in tier. He was playing in tier 2. Well, I mean, he's not on a tier 2 team either anymore. But that's because we're starting to get into the pickup. We're getting close to the pickup season, so he can't join any teams right now because he needs to stay available to get picked up by another team. The problem is if he signs with any tier 2 org right now, they got to let him out of his contract or sell his contract, which makes him hard to pick up. So he's making himself as available of a free agent as possible right now. So he has all the options possible to get onto a team. Because if you listen to him talk right now, he's like, he loves competing competitively, and he's desperate at this point, which is why he jumped on DSG so fast, even though it was not a good fit for him. He's like desperate to play pro again. So we'll see him very soon.
Work consistently and I guess appropriately for everyone. And
like we have multiple international champions who are not playing in tier 1 right now. That is crazy. In any other sport or any other esport as well, that is madness.
Way more about the quality of play than the investors or whatever. The back half of last decade pretty much belonged to Valve. I'm not minimizing the stories in League of Legends or perhaps your favorite esport. I'm a strong believer that there are great stories in all esports, to be honest.
That's true.
But we got 2 beautiful games in CS:GO and Dota 2.
CS:GO, I'm a Valorant player, but I can
make it
on their own terms. I'll admit,
it wasn't a utopia.
CS:GO has a magical scene, a very magical esports scene. The only downside for me personally is that the NA scene is not doing well.
So much more
North America, there's not opportunities, and the content creation scene is not as big as in NA.
And find our own ceiling. Then once we find it, we could grind to try to break through it, to become the best player that we can be. For that reason, it's easy to see why a more open system that favors competition will give us the best thing to watch, right? It doesn't mean that other systems don't have
he's very lucky he got released from his contract. And so he needs to stay out of a contract until the tier 1 scene can pick up players again. And that's a part of the problem with franchising as well. There's like seasons to pick people up, which means that some players have to wait like a freaking year to have a chance to get on a team. It's too long. I think it's not good for esports. Esports is not ready for that model yet. Maybe like 10 years down the line, but not now.
If you get in a helicopter in BattleBit and you start singing Fortunate Son by CCR.
Backlive is
almost ready.
real,
let this play and then
already
I'll
in
be done.
Counter-Strike 2. Not only will matches be ended when a cheater is found, but offenders can potentially be banned the moment they are reported. It might be the least sexy of all the new changes coming to Counter-Strike 2, but it might just be the most important.
That is the most important one.
And after finally
for the
action,
Valorant,
we've got quite a
say what you want about the anti-cheat. I only get a cheater once every for someone like me who plays in 20-hour increments, I'll play for 20 hours straight every other day. For someone who's a madman like me who plays all the time, you'd think in a shooter I'd see cheaters every at least one a week. It's maybe one a month. That's pretty damn good. If I was playing that much CS:GO, you would see one a day, at least. They need to step it up.
Was, in my opinion, the biggest update coming to Counter-Strike 2, VAC Live. And from what we've already seen of it, it's fucking crazy. Now, weeks ago I did a video talking about the rumblings of Valve's new anti-cheat we were getting from data mining.
I mean, the big question on my mind is, okay, is there going to be the third-party matchmaking? Because I am considering Counter-Strike as an option for me, because it's much more up my alley. It's more aim duel focused. Valorant is shifting very heavy towards being focused around team play and utility and comboing utility, which isn't really my favorite thing. My favorite part is aim dueling. So I'm definitely considering Counter-Strike, but the two big things that would instant deal breaker for me is a bad matchmaking system and no alternative. That would be the one thing. So if we don't have FACEIT or something, or a third party one, because FACEIT has such a strong anti-cheat that dude, you're watching porn, they'll watch it with you. People went nuts over how intrusive Valorant's anti-cheat was, but literally CS:GO has been doing that forever. So what do you want about? You just don't know anything. People only freaked out because they didn't know they're not actual esports players, so they're fucking filthy casuals who don't know what they're talking about. And second off, because it's China, which, you know what, that second one kind of a fair to worry about that, but anyone who's this is unheard of, it's no, dude, you just don't play competitively.
And in that video, I extensively spoke about how big of an issue hackers are in CS:GO. Why an overhauled anti-cheat
spraying feels so strong. Spraying is very strong in CS because you could master the spray pattern, which means that you can get a level of consistency from sprays, which I personally am not a fan of because I'm a tap player. But in CS:GO, tapping's very good too. So you can do both. So that's not exactly a deal breaker for me. The second deal breaker I was talking about is if they don't fix the servers. The servers are bad. They're just straight up bad. But both solved by using a third-party rank system like Faceit or ESEA, which I will definitely consider, but I'm worried that Valve might like tighten the controls on it, where it's more like Valorant, where you have to use their rank system. If it's like so if their stuff sucks and they make it so their stuff is the only option, that is a deal breaker for me. Okay. All right. Now that we have gone through that annoying part, we will do the next part of my training, epilepsy warning, by the way. And you know what? I will keep the video playing because I've had people leave my stream when I do this warm-up because it is visually impossible. I don't know. So this is how I got very good at dodging flashes, and I used to only get hit by KO pixel flashes. And I've noticed that since I went on my first break, I'm not good at dodging flashes anymore, and I get hit by all of them. Even breach flash. I used to maybe get hit by 1 in 20 breach flashes. Now I get hit by... I dodge 1 in 20. Which is, especially in the current meta, not good. And especially as a Reyna player, where I cannot instantly dash out unless I get a kill, I have to be able to dodge these flashes. So what I do is I take my second, and I have coded a bot on that account that throws flashes for me. And I just sit and I go into a custom game and I practice clearing a site while flashes are being thrown at me. So that way I can do it subconsciously. And I told myself 2 days ago that I would force myself to do this warm-up every day. Until I can dodge flashes like I used to. Okay. Yeah, I find the sound a bit more annoying. I'm gonna turn off the sound too. But I've definitely had people have had my friends straight up leave because they're like, dude, like this is like straight up hurting my eyes. Like having like the nonstop flashes. Actually, there will be a sound. I have to have sound on because part of dodging this is recognizing the sound. So sorry, but I will at least spare you guys the fucking flashes by having a video playing over it. But part of like having the instant recognition and the instant dodge is recognizing the sound. Get my other mouse over here. To turn my music up then. Fair enough. But this is the one I'm using for my second computer. Okay, my mouse isn't working on my other computer. Hello? I have to restart it. This has happened before. This laptop is like slowing down pretty hard too. Alright. But this like... Alright, I will recommend this. Like normally, I'll be honest, most of the training that I do is like... The amount of benefit I'm getting from a lot of my training at this point is minimal. It's mostly like a comfort thing for me where like it's like psychological where I'm like, oh, if I don't do this warm-up, I'm going to suck at doing it in game. So a lot of it is psychological for me at this point, which I'm like trying to get away from, and I'm trying to shorten my warm-up. So for example, the Kovacs warm-up I did today is hours shorter than I like doing. And I usually do most of it off stream. And I'm trying my best because the good news is I'm not changing my sense anymore. I haven't changed my sense in like 2 weeks, which is like a record for like a long time. Like as someone who changes their sense like 4 times each game, going 2 weeks without changing my sense is like big for me. And that also means I might not have to warm up as much. You're ill for warming up more than 5 minutes? Yeah, try like 5 hours. That's about a standard warm-up for me. Let's not go tense. The person who I took that strategy from, though, is like, it's a tried and tested method. So the person who did it was Flamey, where he did 1,000 headshots with every single gun before playing. But then again, bear in mind, you guys aren't playing against pro players every day. I was playing against pro players yesterday, and I'm probably going to be, if today's climb goes well, I'll be playing against pro players again, because a lot of them just like that have been busy with like the tournaments and stuff are just coming back to ranked, and they're playing in like Ascendant. So I will actually be playing like with a decent amount of pro players as long as I'm like winning my games. Like I like in a lot of my games I have to be dialed in to like consistently win. I could autopilot and still win like most of my games, but I don't want to win most of my games. I want to win the vast majority. There we go. Mouse working. Kovacs doesn't work properly for you for some reason? What do you mean? You probably, I'll be honest, it's probably user error. It is probably user error. There's probably just something that you need explained to you. So what is the issue? I'm a shill for Kovacs. Absolute Kovacs fanboy. Shill. So, what is the issue? Dude, my laptop has so many things that open on startup, it's not okay. It's the freaking... like 20 apps opening on startup. Relax. Kovacs coaching. I mean, that is a thing. Aim coaches. There are some people who genuinely need aim coaching, though. It's... for the most part, people, like, it's not that hard. But some people need to have things broken down into small steps and explained to them to, like, learn aim. Because it's, like, not natural to them. For me, like, I had to break down all the parts of aim into little tiny steps and learn them. Granted, I didn't get a coach for that. I did it myself by watching good aimers, like, play an aim trainer. And, like, look at, like, how they played each scenario and break it down. My aim sucks, so I don't need aim coaching. You might. You never know. I mean, it depends on how good you want to get. Do you want to be the best you could possibly be, or are you fine with where you're at? Dude, I wish. This is my fingertip mouse. This mouse is, technology-wise, probably the best mouse you can own. This is like an 8,000 hertz polling rate, 13-gram mouse. And this is the one that it has a board in it that is used in like guided missiles. It is like pound for pound the best mouse you can own, but it's I felt like it was having sensor issues, which is why I am not using it. And also I just find that myself like incredibly inconsistent on fingertip grip, even though I practiced it for like 6 months. Okay, all right, I'm talking too much. Let's get this show on the road. Requested. Let's get the show on the road, boys. Oh, crap. I remember why I linked. Is Breach a default character? Do you have to unlock Breach? Okay, I have him. Okay. I think that's why I put him on that account. Alright, I'll play the video now. I already have him on the account that I'm using on my laptop, so we're chilling.
Players in real time. In their update, they said, quote, VAC will now live ban and gracefully terminate the match at the end of the round, unless it was the last round and the cheater lost. The match will not affect any participants' skill group.
Oh man, so if you lost with the cheater, you still take the loss? Dang.
For the match. Now, for a second, I thought we'd have to hold off on doing this video because we wouldn't have had footage to show it off, but silly me, this is Counter-Strike, so obviously people were cheating already, and obviously we saw VAC in action. And while the matches do end gracefully, as Valve suggested, the banning part, to say it's abrupt would be an understatement.
Screen so that you guys don't have to see the flashes.
Yes, the fucking millisecond that Buddy reported his opponent for hitting a through the smoke, he was blasted out of the server and given a
He got catapulted out on a trebuchet.
How funny it was.
That's funny.
Just how impressive and potentially scary this new tech is. If this player was in fact cheating, it changes everything. No more frustration, no more second guessing every death you have. No more
you absolutely catapulted out of the server. I mean, it makes sense they would take such like a strong stance against it now because they have a reputation for having a cheating problem. If you have a reputation that strong, you have to take a strong stance because that's the big thing that a lot of people are waiting to see more about. They're waiting to see just how good the anti-cheat is before like deciding whether or not to like play it. Because that's the big problem so many people have.
Explain exactly how it works. For obvious reasons, devs try to stay pretty tight-lipped when it comes to their anti-cheat software.
That makes sense.
They don't want to give out anything that might tip off someone with nefarious intentions. So, for the time being, all we can really do is speculate. One option is that VAC detected the account as being a bit sus already, and they were just waiting for a report to hand out the ban. But if this software is as powerful as we think it could be, once the player was reported, VAC did a live check, found something, and then banned the player. And as a Valve pen tester said in the replies, this seems to be the case. There has been quite a bit of discourse recently about the things that Valve are taking from Valorant to be used in CS2. And while I'm guilty of propagating this as well, in the case of this anti-cheat being similar to Vanguard, I don't think it matters whatsoever. If a game is fun and satisfying, the only thing that players ask for is a competitive environment where they can trust the results of every gunfight. And improving things like tick rate and anti-cheat are the best ways to do this. And for Valve's sake,
30 seconds left.
I hope it works out, because as history shows, this shit is very, very expensive. In an interview conducted by A16Z Games with Raidbase, the new studio built by the co-founders of Valorant, the OG designers detailed just how costly these quality of life improvements are.
So we never saw Valorant as a feature fight.
10 seconds left.
Except that there were certain features that were so important, we called them table stakes. Like anti-cheat. Again, I have quit every shooter because of cheating. We wanted to invest more into that than anyone else.
How hard is that?
The hardest.
How expensive is that?
I need to
literally tens of millions of dollars. Wow. If anyone is making a shooter without the full force of a big company, I wish you the best.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Imagine making an anti-cheat for like a popular shooter without like a lot of funding. Wild. Like at this point, like the barrier for entry is like insane.
But choosing not to puts everything at risk for Valve. Believe it or not, VAC was pretty revolutionary for its time, and I'm sure it cost millions of dollars to create and operate. But just like the 60-tick servers, it's starting to show its age. As the Valorant founders also said in that interview, developing a game these days is not a battle of innovations. Almost everything has been done before to some capacity. The true battle is the commitment you have to offering your player base an experience that is as smooth as possible. Are you willing to put the time and money in, or are you just going to ride on the coattails of your IP? Well, with the progress already made on VAC Live and the Subtick servers, it seems that Valve is 100% committed to that pursuit. And I hope to God it works out. Unless someone's blatantly hacking, then obviously like I'll report them. But if someone's like super sus and people are calling them out, I usually will just be like, someone else will report them. I don't want to be the person that dogpiles on someone. But at the same time, those people could also be smurfing. And in both cases, I mean, see you later.
Virtually every multiplayer game to ever exist has metas. Some come and go and have little effect on the community, but others are so ridiculous that they leave you wondering what the hell the developers were even thinking.
Charges left. Holy sh**. That is unnecessary. I hope they take that out for actual competitive play.
Some metas are so bizarre that you're left questioning why you even bothered to play the game that day. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you that we have merch. Head to shop.thescore.com and check out our new black and ivory touch grass hoodies. They are super comfy. And now, here are some of the stupidest metas that ever existed. Kicking off our list, we have one of the dumbest metas to ever grace Street Fighter, and it comes from 4's Arcade Edition. When the update dropped in December 2010, it came with Yun returning to the franchise. He was busted on release with excellent movement, great damage, and insane frame data. Basically, it wasn't surprising when the game's producer admitted that Capcom intentionally made him OP.
Gaming.
But the stupidest part of his moveset was his dive kick.
The main reason his movement was good was the dive kick. Yun's dive kick travels across the screen extremely quickly, and he could threaten it even from a neutral jump. And because of that, the opponent couldn't just DP whenever they saw Yun leave the ground, in case he didn't dive kick. On most knockdowns, Yun could easily use his dive kick to reposition. Things like escaping the corner were trivial, even if the opponent quick rose.
Yun quickly became a problem, with many top players like Daigo switching off their long-time mains and onto the new character.
Oh, yes, hit confirm, Indigan Agent. And hopefully he hits the whole thing this time, we'll see. But again, what's the mix-up afterward? That's the question. Wow, wow, I didn't know that worked.
Crazy, a hard knockdown on
I've
that.
never seen that.
All right, here we go. John has got to be close to Dizzy at this point.
Oh, I like the backdash there. The twin backdash is so strong, and there it is.
And Daigo takes it from John Choi.
After a strong first round from John, everything else was all Daigo.
Even after Capcom finally nerfed him, Yun was still annoying to play against. It didn't help that dive kicks were dominating multiple games at once, which led to Yun's dominance partially inspiring an entire parody game which featured a character named Kick, a direct reference to Yun.
Character
Yun was
named
so
Kick.
powerful that he basically defined Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. And to this day, fans are still tilted by just how stupid he was. Sniper has always been a strong hero in Dota 2. In fact, most players would tell you that he's brain dead and requires basically zero skill.
Sniper,
but when Valve decided to buff his shrapnel ability
in every game, having a one-shot headshot, like long-range scoped gun is always going to be difficult to balance. Especially in large map games. Like any Battle Royale and then like TF2, like with larger maps. Snipers are going to be like very hard to balance, because the problem is that if you become skilled at it, it's like unbeatable.
Sniper's shrapnel ability was so damn busted that his obnoxious voice still haunts Dota 2 players to this day.
Oh, Dota. I thought he was talking about TF2.
A game that
I don't know why I
has seen
did.
some pretty awful metas.
I think TF2 Sniper was broken though, right?
Like Finker and Lion on our channel, but there was one brief meta that, believe it or not, may have been even dumber. Back in March 2018, patch 3.1.0 finally brought some buffs to Blitz. In an effort to raise his pick rate, Ubisoft made him a 2-speed operator. Most people probably thought this was a reasonable change, but the developers had forgotten one thing about Blitz. Since shields in Rainbow Six already have a natural speed reduction of 0.5, the buff likely should have made him run at 1.5 speed, but once players started playing him on the game's test server, they realized this wasn't the case.
Those of you that don't have access to the TTS, Blitz is a monster right now. I would go as far to say as he's the most overpowered op they've ever released in the game. Certainly the most annoying op.
Blitz
what game
was
is that?
fast as and it didn't help
Siege?
that Lion's ability forced you to sit still while Blitz ran you down. Luckily, Ubisoft recognized their mistake and made Blitz act as intended when the patch went live. But even after the bug fix, his movement speed with his shield equipped still felt pretty fast. Ubisoft even released yet another statement to prove that the average round length had only been reduced by 9 seconds. Over time, his pick rate has gone down, but everyone still remembers rushing sites with Blitz and ending rounds in seconds.
Smoking white, small white there, smoke. Last one's white there. Nice job.
Valorant has had no shortage of ridiculous metas. Whether it's weapons or agents, Riot has a real knack for releasing overpowered bullshit. And in the early days of the game, there was a lot of nonsense. Throughout 2020, one weapon in particular was just plain stupid.
Was it the Bucky? Yeah. Connor, you ever played Siege? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like getting shot from someone's weird hidey hole peephole that they shot in a wall, dude. Take an actual fight against me, pussy.
Shotguns are often used for their close quarters capabilities, but the Bucky could pretty much be used as a sniper rifle. And because the price was merely 900 credits, eco rounds just didn't feel like eco rounds. You could buy a rifle for 2,900 credits only to get right click from a ridiculous range with a Bucky.
Rain is really low. Rain is so low. I hate this gun. I hate this gun. I hate it. I can't believe that.
One enemy remaining.
Last time in. Please ace this, Tens. Please, this is free YouTube content.
Come on. He's at 130 now.
Yeah, it wasn't fun at all. But thankfully, in patch 2.06, Riot finally answered everyone's prayers, nerfing basically everything about the Bucky. Nowadays, the Bucky actually feels like a shotgun. You can still buy it on eco rounds, but it's not nearly as deadly as it used to be.
That's true. That shit used to be dumb.
Maybe the meta that drove
this is probably the biggest like thing of like this whole video.
No,
Goats is the meta that killed a game. Like single-handedly.
Don't you guys love Double Shield? Let's go! I love playing Sigma. I love playing Reinhardt. I love playing Orisa.
As the 2019 Overwatch League playoffs were approaching, teams figured out that running 2 shield tanks was broken, and that became even more apparent when Sigma was released. This forced players to either break the shields or play heroes that avoided them entirely. It wasn't fun to watch, and it sure as hell wasn't fun to play.
The meta that killed Overwatch.
Yes, dude. Yes. Shields, 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 shields. Put down another shield, another barrier to replace this barrier that just died. Just put down another goddamn shield.
Yeah, I love shields. Shields are so much fun. I love shooting shields.
Really, dude, that's honestly my least favorite part of Overwatch as well. Like, I like aim dueling.
This meta had a
like,
few
and
variations
if an entire team is playing correctly, they're sitting by the tank. It's like, dude,
with both shields set up, Bastion
fight me.
would hunker down in turret form and melt enemies from afar.
You do actually have to stop the cart at a certain point in time, Jungle Hunters. You can't just stand here and shoot at it while it moves.
They do know that, but instead they put an ice wall on.
The Bastion composition is so unforgiving. You get caught once, you get slowed, you're out there. I mean, the highest DPS in the game, sorry, you're just dead. It's not going to happen. You're not getting out. You're not going to turn the fight around. You start to lose momentum against a Bastion, and things just get out of hand very quickly.
Both teams were basically just playing to keep their Bastion alive, arguably making Overwatch the most unfun it's ever been. Even today, that was easily one of the most ridiculous comps that Overwatch has ever seen. Back in 2018, League of Legends saw arguably its most boring meta ever.
What, the tank
gold
meta?
Funneling.
Oh, gold funneling? No, that was fun because I was a gold funneler. I was a gold funneler.
One jungle hyper carry on the team, such as
I played that shit. That shit was fun as fuck.
We do see the Black Shield cool down for a little bit, used on Faker.
If you're the Master Yi with 30 kills, it's fun.
Super low and down. Will go tall.
If you're the Twitch with 30 kills, it's fun. I was a Twitch main. I was a Twitch 1 trick. If you're a Twitch 1 trick, fun as fuck. Get to space glide.
You want to see some numbers? Here's some numbers.
That's a number, nearly 10,000 in one fight.
Nearly more than the entirety of the enemy team.
What I will say is playing against the Taric Yi one. Yeah, Taric Yi was not fun to play against or with. I didn't like Taric Yi. I liked Lulu Twitch.
Doublelift gave a great explanation of
Lulu Twitch was not as good, but it was way more fun.
Esports when it first became
way more fun.
Basically, the entire point of gold funneling is to interact with the enemy team as little as possible and to just put all of your resources into a champion that can hard carry. And I feel like it's not fun to watch, it's not fun to play, and it's especially not fun to play against.
Gold funneling in solo queue wasn't as much of a big deal for an average player, because if you ask a random person on your team to funnel their gold,
I don't think gold funneling was as bad as the tank meta. The tank meta like made me want to die.
Absolute snooze fest. Riot finally fixed things after a few months, changing Hunter's Machete so that lane minions would grant 10 less gold until a jungler finished enchanting it. This marked the end of the gold funneling meta, and honestly, good riddance. It was boring as hell.
Just change the gold funneling strat so I don't need to play Braum again.
Alright, that was our list of the absolute worst metas in esports. Do you have
I
any
think the
that
tank
really
meta
wound
was
you
worse
up
though in League for
specifically?
sure.
Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the
Personally, me personally, I did not like the tank meta.
I really hate the lane swap meta in League. The team with a stronger bot lane, they might go, all right, well,
Oh, what's this new video?
Fighting games have this little piece of black magic at their
Are you
core
guys
that
excited?
makes
Are you guys
playing
going to
them
try the Riot
online
fighting game?
Not only possible, but legitimately great. But before we had it, the future of fighting games online.
Wait, I can't see. Wait, what happened to my
extremely
kick chat? I think my
For the
kick
most part,
chat
if you're
got.
playing,
Oh no,
like,
there
a
it is.
game
Okay.
that's popular. You know,
Hell
playing
no,
online
tank
is
meta
fine
was
most of the
assassin
time. You
meta
don't have the same kind of
acts
issues
of
that
violence.
you
Well,
see in
I,
fighting games with
during the assassin meta, I was
crazy.
actually
The craziest
I
part,
was cool
the
with
person
that.
who
Fine.
came up
I was
with
fine with
this
that too.
revolutionary idea did it in his spare time because a port of his favorite fighting game completely sucked online. It's not a stretch to say that rollback netcode has completely changed the way that we think and, most importantly, feel about playing fighting games online.
I want to wake up and not have to think. I hope any of the 3 or 4 fighting games come out next year have good netcode. I'm literally asking for the game to be playable online.
So
That's
how the hell
true.
did it all
That's
happen?
fair.
And
Fighting
why
games
did it
probably
take
need like
so
some of the
long?
best netcode of any game, just because like everything is like frames matter.
The lag ate the stand block and made me
Like-
dude, this lag straight up.
The two like most important games for like netcode are shooters and fighting games, in my opinion.
That's right, baby. Now I'm the guy in the nebulous green screen box who's here to talk about nerdy shit. So
It's
take
very,
a
very hard
Counter-Strike,
to make.
Valorant, even you, League of Legends, because today
It's very
we
hard
talk
to
about
make
some other games that change. For decades, fighting
netcode
games
that
couldn't be
works.
played seriously over the internet. That wasn't
And the
always a
thing
big
about
problem
fighting
because
games is a
live
lot of
and
fighting games
in-person
don't
was
have as
exactly
like
the way that fighting gamers preferred it. But modern
huge
games
of an audience
need
behind them, which
online
means they
play.
have less money to
The
work
problem
with.
was that fighting games just hadn't kept up.
For me, overall, Street Fighter V netcode is not 10 out of 10, but I would not have any qualms about saying that was a real match where it felt like the real game. Wow. You can't even write this shit. Look at me. I try to shill it for you, Capcom, and look what you do.
What the fuck? I don't know if anyone saw that. Did anyone catch that?
Today, a game that doesn't have good netcode might as well be dead on arrival. And thankfully for all of us, Capcom finally implemented quality rollback netcode in Street Fighter 6. Now, you can play matches against people who are pretty far away and still have a stable experience, as we discovered in our review of the game.
I went into one of the busiest Asian region lobbies and played against two
This is the new
players
Street
with over
Fighter, right?
200 ping
I
that
heard
were
the new Street
likely
Fighter is
in
really
or
good.
around Japan. Sure, it was noticeably worse.
But I'm
than
excited for the
local
Riot
NA
fighting game.
connection, but it was honestly
I might like.
better or on par with anything
I'll
that
give
would
it a
have
shot.
expected
I mean,
out of
obviously
Street Fighter
Valorant's
V.
going
In
like
5 or 6
at this
games,
point.
I dropped less than 10
I'm just a
frames
shooter player.
to Japan.
Like the days of me like
That's not
swapping
just
genres is
netcode, it's
probably
witchcraft.
pretty like
It's no wonder
done.
that people were celebrating
Just
like the
because
Galactic
it's
Empire
nice
was
that
finally
the
defeated.
skills
But
from a shooter
Capcom
carry
took a
over to
long
other
time
shooters
to
because
get-
the aim
Capcom
just
and other
aim carries
developers didn't
over
really
to
focus
some
on
degree in every
online
shooter.
play until very recently, and things were pretty bad.
Which
How
means it's
insane
really
is it
fun.
that there's
Like
not a fighting game in 2019
it's really
with
nice
perfect
for new
netcode,
shooter
a
games
working
to
lobby
be able
system that just
to
makes sense. Really good
basically
training with, like, a
start
robust
off
training mode,
better
good
than everyone
features,
else if
and a
you were
solid
already
core
good at a
mode.
different
These are
shooter.
all
Like it's a
standard
good
things that
feeling.
fighting games should contain in 2019.
So
And it
let's
means that
take a
you
look
can,
back. Historically, fighting games have excelled in two huge arenas.
That's
at the arcade
you can
and on
jump
home
up
consoles. The arcade was a central place
and
to
like
play
have an
video
opportunity
games,
in the
so networking wasn't
esports
a
scene
requirement.
at a lot of
If you
like
wanted to
new
update an arcade
shooters
machine,
if you at
you did it the
least
old-fashioned
are carrying over
way.
good
By the
aim.
late 90s, it was a lot more
Which is why a lot
common
of
to play
people were able to go pro in Valorant because they bring the
1998
aim
Jet Fighter
over and
appears to
then
be the
they just
earliest
focus on
internet
learning all this
fighting
stuff
game
before
at least.
everyone else,
But as
and then
the
you
years
have
went
like
on,
a
more and
huge
more
head
games
start.
got online play. Unfortunately, it was pretty laggy. That didn't
honestly, the
sit
fact
well
I was
with
able to
fighting
reach the
game
elo I
editor and
did
developer
with
Tony
no
Cannon,
shooter
who
experience was
realized that
like
with arcades starting to disappear,
just like
online play might be
it
the
just
genre's life.
shitloads of hard
But he
work. Most
also
people can't
understood
do
how
it.
different fighting games felt online.
By introducing
Dude, this flash is
lag,
hitting me
it
even though I'm
immediately
dodging it.
makes the game not worth playing, especially for someone like me. Think about me and all of you guys. Like, you're in the arcade, you're building this skill for like
Getting
10
kinda
years,
mad.
and then you're trying to play a game online that just throws it all out because your timing all changes.
More than real-time strategy or even FPS, fighting games online had to feel like the same thing everybody already knew and loved. So how did our boy Tony solve this problem? Well, I think I'll let the guy who actually knows what he's talking about handle this one.
And now, the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
Wait, I still have to do this bit too? So, when it comes to ping, the round-trip latency of your data from you to your destination, some games are simply more demanding than others. Fighting games measure things in frames. There are generally 60 of them every second, and being just 1 or 2 frames late can create a massive connectivity problem, as Cannon explained at EVO 2017.
60 times a second, they're reading your joystick, and then they're running just a tiny bit of game state, 1/60th of a second, and then they're rendering the frame.
Filthy
over and
casual.
over and over again.
1/60th of a
And so the
60th of
problem
a
was,
second.
At that,
It's
when you read the joystick,
it's reading the
it
joystick
has
60
to
times
get
a second.
The remote packet over the network.
At first glance, this seems like
We
a
have
pretty
mice that
serious
are reading
problem.
8,000
The two
times a
game clients have
second.
to basically
Filthy
shake hands with
casuals.
each other
Controller
more than
player
server 60
problems,
times
am I
every
right?
second just to make sure they're on the same page, then the connection stability
Controller
is going to be
players.
incredibly important.
If there's any reason why there's packet loss or a drop in the quality of the connection, you will have a bad experience. It will be noticeable, and if there's packet loss, the game will chug and freeze.
These games supported multiplayer, but they lagged, because essentially,
Let's all laugh
when
at the
you play
controller
someone,
players.
The longer it take to transmit traffic over the network, the more the game would lag.
It seemed plausible that eventually network speeds could support this model, but the fighting game community didn't have time to lose. This was pre
60 times a second,
and the
dang.
feeling was that fighting games, at least in North America, were going to die with arcades. So instead of waiting, Cannon developed Good Game Peace Out, a program that used an existing emulator, Final Burn Alpha, to run his new strategy for handling netcode. The basic idea was simple at its core, but revolutionary for the genre. What if, instead of trying to synchronize every frame, you just guess? And if you guess wrong, you catch the player back up.
This was the only
What?
way to
That
make
don't-
anything
I don't
work
understand what
with
that
0
means.
frames of latency. If you really need to simulate and you don't have both inputs, well, I guess you just have to simulate.
The secret sauce in the formula was that the netcode
What?
kept
So they
tabs
just
on the
guess?
possible outcomes of the actions
What?
on screen, allowing the actions to be resimulated in
No
the background,
comprende?
thus the name
That doesn't sound good.
rollback.
So GGPO will ask the game,
Or
"Hey,
laugh at
game,
the player with the
can
weird ass
you
mouse on his
go back
desk.
a few
That's just
frames
because you don't
and then
understand.
Figure out what
You don't.
happened. Like,
my
sort of
This
my
had
goals are beyond
other
your understanding.
consequences. Like, for example, sometimes you missed out
Only
on a
true
couple starting
geniuses
frames
know.
of an animation you should have been able to see. But that was obviously way better than the alternative. Constant lag, input delay, and synchronization problems that interfered with the ability to play at all. It's not hyperbole to say that Cannon's idea changed fighting games forever. He started working on it in 2006 and got to demo it to Capcom later that year. Rollback-style netcode went on to be implemented in a number of fighting games, and in 2019, Cannon made GGPO open source.
The
under
client
MIT
is guessing what the player is
But
doing and
even though we had
until
a
the
great
server is
solution
giving them
as early
info.
as 2006,
Yeah,
we
but doesn't
didn't
that
have
mean
the
that
same
like
sense
you
of
get hit by
urgency
stuff that
until
doesn't exist
2020.
sometimes?
And that was the guy who actually
Like,
knows
isn't
what
that
he's
what that
talking
means?
about.
So rollback worked remarkably well, but implementing it into existing games was a lot of work.
Like that
Just to
sounds
give you
like
guys a
that
sense
would
of
be
the scope of
infuriating.
what
If I
we
got hit
were-
by something that didn't
The
happen.
time we invested in shipping this thing was about 4 to 12 concurrent engineers for 9 months, roughly 7 or 8 man years.
Like
of work
maybe
for the
I
initial
mean,
release, and
granted,
then ongoing support.
I do not
is,
play fighting
part-time
games.
work
I've
for
pretty
about
much
6
never played
engineers.
fighting games,
NetherRealm chose
so I
to
don't.
implement rollback for Mortal
I'm
Kombat
speaking
10
from a
and
place of
Injustice
extreme
2, but
ignorance.
You can see why
But
some
like,
companies might have
that
been a
sounds
bit
like it would be
hesitant.
annoying.
Bottom line is, this was expensive. Was it worth it? The fans said yes, but the devs, well, wasn't exactly the sexiest addition to their games. Plus, at the moment, a lot of players had some other option, either arcades or maybe locals, which had a massive resurgence along with Street Fighter IV's genre-defining popularity. Street Fighter V launched in 2015 with a pretty bare-bones offering and 8 frames of input delay on PS4. Depending on the density of the player base where you lived, playing online could be a nightmare. In particular, one voice stepped up. Sajam, a legendary fighting game commentator. He was unapologetic in his criticism of bad netcode.
When it comes to fighting games, you know what I want? I want to wake up and not have to think. I hope any of the 3 or 4 fighting games come out next year have good netcode. I'm not asking for a battle pass. I'm not asking for $34 million prize pool. I'm literally asking for the game to be playable online. That's all I want.
Dude, fighting game players are so beat down at this point. The most beat down community of all
Street Fighter
time.
V had plenty of problems. Some games had decent.
Then you come from like the like more popular esports and you're like, yeah, you get it's like seeing a homeless person. As bad as that sounds.
Especially Capcom.
It's like seeing someone who just like got like evicted from their apartment. That's what it's like looking at fighting game players coming from like the better like.
Incredibly good. Why is
I almost just said what I really think. The better genres.
That is a
it's almost coming from the better genres.
Why didn't people think to themselves, that is solved?
Street Fighter V had in-house rollback netcode, but the implementation was really bad. So bad, in fact, that the fighting game community once again took it upon themselves to fix it.
It's not punching unless it's already in a punch animation.
Corrected one of the issues with netcode that had persisted for 4 years.
Not sure my brain can comprehend that right now while clearing. My brain is trying to figure out what this video is saying while clearing corners and dodging flashes.
Just barely. In many ways, the fighting game community's patience with Capcom and Street Fighter V had run out, and the company was out of time. Over the years, Street Fighter V had become a good fighting game offline, but with the pandemic upon us, suddenly online play was the only option, including for Capcom Pro Tour events. And it was a terrible one.
Oh! Spectating has been halted, what do you mean?
Do you have any thoughts about how you are gonna prepare for that kind of extremely talent-dense tournament again?
Nah, I'm gonna just play Guilty Gear. I don't like the lag, so I'm not gonna force myself to play. I love the game.
Dude, that's crazy, dude.
But online is just not.
That's
good.
so weird to me that like esports players in fighting games have like their main game be like so interchangeable, where they'll just be like, no, I'm leaving for this other game.
The difference is, you know, they don't hire Punk.
That's like me being like, nah, I'm waiting for Apex.
People know that I don't do CPT events anymore because Capcom is talking about the netcode or saying, hey, you guys probably
that community gets so few W's.
You know?
And on top of it, like 90% of their pro players got outed as pedophiles or some shit.
Led the way for innumerable fighting games
like,
to come.
Oh
Frankly,
my God.
it's hard to imagine 2 games more different at launch
How
than
fucking
Street
sad.
Fighters 5 and 6.
Glad that's not the game I put all my eggs into,
single-player
or
Six
the
has a
genre I
full
put all my
open-world
eggs into.
experience that eases you into fighting games. In fact, everything about the game is just better, including, thankfully, the netcode.
The netcode was very, very good. I played people from Mexico, UK. Those were 3-bar connections according to the game.
Dude, what the fuck? Wait, maybe netcode doesn't matter that much.
That was a
playing on the ping for Mexico, I'd like lose my mind. So like they're fine with playing on like 100 ping? What? No, it's not gonna be 100. It's gotta be like 70 ping. But like still, like 70, 80 ping, unplayable in like high-level shooters or even like League of Legends. It's like definitely not ideal.
And we now know Tekken 8 is going to have
Maybe they're just
rollback,
whining
though
over nothing.
Obviously, we still need to see how it actually works. The future.
Keep in mind these are controller players.
And Tony Cannon isn't done building it yet. He and his brother Tom are both part of the development team for Project
Not to keep
L,
beating on the fighting game community,
this
but
is
I
a
will say that
victory
the
for
fighting game community,
It's important for developers to realize that
Okay,
this
like,
is only the beginning. Sajam,
it's
who got back
home
into
to
Capcom's good
a lot of
graces in
people
time for
of the
Street Fighter
personality
6
type that
was
pisses
right.
me
We
off.
shouldn't accept less.
Is what
You
I'll
should
say.
ask for so much better than that. You're a human being. Why the f would you waste your time making excuses for people who are selling you a product that should be better than that?
How do you guys feel about
like
those? I can't.
I'll say like the
I can't judge my
people
own
in the fighting game community, I'm like, I don't know.
This is annoying.
I hesitate to just call them cringe, but like
Wow, thanks for the vote of confidence. I appreciate it.
Who knows? Maybe I'm coming from a place of ignorance again, but from what I've seen,
the biggest names in esports are capable of committing blunders, but only a select few will spend all of eternity getting ragged on for it. Whether it's an uncanny ability to get trapped atop cliffs, frying to death in a sea of fabled self-administered flames, or a catastrophic instance of bad real-time mathematics, there are no shortage of memes surrounding esports' most hilarious and heartbreaking mishaps.
Here comes the tension, here comes the push. Down on white stairs, waiting for the vault on in is Canadian. Will he be able to secure the kill? He sees the tracers go. No! Scyther will win the fight!
But in the ever-evolving esport that is Valorant, there is one signature screw-up.
It's talking about Rosa, huh? It's talking about Rosa.
And, well,
I already know.
From the rest.
Wait, I don't even have to be looking at the video to know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right.
Lamau.
How does he hit that? Mid-air. I'm mid-air. I'm mid-air.
Lamau, Rosa.
One enemy remaining. You can't make.
You know, it's only fair, right? Rosa is like the only player that has a spot on a map named after him. So you know what? It's only fair that he also has a misplay named after him. The spot on Ascent below top mid is called Subrosa. He gets that.
Today we're pouring one
So
out
you know
for
what? He also
Yassine
gets the raise with.
Subrosa Taouf,
It's only fair.
the notoriously cracked CS:GO turned Valorant competitor whose infamous rocket mishaps have canonized him as the patron
play that
saint
character.
of really, really bad results.
Okay, but I feel like people exaggerate it. It's not that bad.
It's cursed. It's cursed.
Like his ults aren't that bad. Like come the fuck on.
The thing is, Subrosa
If anyone in
is no
chat thinks they can
stranger
hit
to
some of those
scrutiny
rockets, they're
regarding his
coping.
aim.
Fucking
And
silver
let me tell
chat.
You, it hasn't always been playful.
Bro, first off, I know it's I don't 100% hacked.
So
Oh yeah,
who
back when
is
Subrosa used to be
Why did
thought to be a cheater.
everyone accuse him of cheating
Yeah.
in CS:GO?
You know, I thought like the pros were smart enough to be like, oh, he doesn't cheat. Look at him. Like he's doing this and he's doing that. But if it wasn't the case.
And how is it that his inability to land a showstopper has given birth to one of Valorant's oldest and most oft-memed terms of art?
No Rosa ult, please.
Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Oh, you're panic. Dude, Mike. That's a new one. I don't even think we can call that one Roselle.
Okay, so before we blast pack our way into Subrosa's story, I gotta do the thing where I ask you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. I was gonna segue into a clip of me being Rosa ulted or something, but I'll be honest, your boy is way too clean with it to even let him get the ult.
Shut up, this guy doesn't even play Valorant. He's a CS player. This guy just hates on Valorant.
Before she even got it off?
I already know that guy's a CS
Now,
player.
unsurprisingly, like a lot of Valorant's earliest aimbots, this French-Canadian fragger of Moroccan descent hailed from the skill-intensive shores of CS:GO. What you may not know is that he was grinding free-to-play shooters for years before that.
I was playing AVA. I was like 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. And I was just playing for fun, you know, like with my IRL friends and some friends I met online. And then eventually there's like these little tournaments they would do, but they were so little. It was like for $500, sometimes like for in-game items. And I was like sign up for them, and I thought it was pretty fun. And then some of the people that would compete in those games or those tournaments would always like talk about CS. And I was like, let me just try this CS thing everyone like kept talking about. So I downloaded CS and I fell in love with it, and everything was just better.
By the end of 2015, Subrosa was starting to dip his toe into actual competitive play, and by 2016 was cutting his teeth in small North American leagues, LANs, and qualifiers.
Crossing towards elbow, both his teammates coming through CT, and Uber just coming through Rabbit, cleaning up 1-2 members of Onyxia, and Andrew gonna clean up Cruz, but Subrosa finds 1 and 2, and now it's a 1v1. and Sub Rosa just came huge for Nixia CS.
When I first touched a computer, because obviously when I was a kid, like I wanted to be a soccer pro or whatever, like I wanted sports and that. And then when you don't make it like at a certain age, like 11, 12 years old, 13 years old in Quebec, it's kind of like pointless. You're kind of just wasting your time. So as soon as I kind of like committed to playing on the computer, like playing those games like Soldier Front, AVA, I was putting like ridiculous amount of time. Like it was like if I'm not in school or I'm not doing anything school, like I would be on the computer. And then playing those like 8 years before playing CS, like dude, I started playing CS I think at like 16, 17, and I played like FPS free to play for like 10 years old, 11 years old. I think we started like the first one, Soldier Front or Soldier Front 2. So 7 years just playing straight FPS. And when I switched to CS, it was like a similar game. It's pretty much the same thing. I just had to learn the mechanics. So like literally a year of playing all day, every day took me to pro level.
Come the end of the summer, he'd gotten his
Yeah, I wish I'd
first
gotten that
big
much of a
break
start on
Counter
shooters, to be
Logic
honest.
Gaming, and
I
was
can't help but wonder
regularly
like how far I would have
facing off
gone.
against the biggest,
But I was not
baddest
allowed to play
losers
that much video games when I was a kid.
offer.
Nothing's traded off, but it seems like the damage has been done a little bit. Another kill almost through the smoke. Sub Rosa
Jaden,
entering the
do I
site.
play
Shroud is
FN?
massively exposed.
Fortnite? No, I do not.
Sick game sense right there. Almost hitting that shot like 5 times in the smoke.
Kit on Skadoodle, so there's a chance here for Cloud9 still. Automatic.
I do
It's been
not.
Good for this team so far. Because they have the
How
kit,
do
they
I
can let
add-
that smoke expire, but
Punch
Sub Rosa
chat.
with a very nice peek comes out on top of it, and then right through the box.
And it was right around then that a narrative that had been burgeoning for some time really began to capture the attention of the community. Namely, that Rosa was, well, sus. You see, earlier that year, a certain clip from one of Sub Rosa's league matches began making the rounds
Why
on
can't the best
various
aim-wise people not
Counter-Strike
convert
forums.
into
And
gunfights?
if you were
Because
around
aim
back
is
then and
well,
are familiar with the
it's only
details of
part of the
Rosa's
puzzle,
notoriety,
and for the most part, aim
exactly which
is a
clip I'm
correction to a mistake.
I remember I was on TeamSpeak. We had just played this match.
Having the
with
correct
Alexia,
movement and crosshair placement in the first
every
place
pro
takes
player, like, after
priority,
they're
and if
done
you're
with their
doing
match,
that
they watch the
perfectly, you
VOD
don't
and, like,
have
their own
to.
clips and like, oh, look at this 2K I had. So
So
I
if there's
was
shit
doing
and all
on
that
my
other
own
stuff,
on
it doesn't
TeamSpeak,
matter.
and I was watching the VOD, and then I saw the like vent thing, and I was like, wait, guys, look at this, and I clipped it, and I sent it to them. And then as soon as I sent it to them, they sent it to more people, and they're like, yo, look at what Sub Rosa just did. That's when I was like, okay, maybe I should have done that. And then I went to the forum on ESCA, and I would like shit post sometimes, like just troll around. And then as soon as I posted that clip that night, that's when like I started feeling it like almost instantly, like almost messages everywhere like, yo, what the fuck was that? Like, what was that? I was like, I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, look at this. Like, I just did it randomly, and it happened to be like on him. That day would probably be the day I was like, oh shit, okay. People actually think I cheat.
He broke the vent. Why would he look there? What would be the point to look there? If he broke the vent,
This guy's cringe
there'd
though.
be no
He
point
accused
to
so
look
many
through the
people who
wall
like
there.
very
Okay, what
like
is that
obviously weren't
accomplishing?
cheating of
What
being
is
cheaters.
looking through the
I
wall
think this guy accused
You already heard
Shroud,
that the
Stewie
vent's
2K,
What he's
and
probably
Sub Rosa
doing
all of being
is he
cheaters.
hears the vent break
This
and
guy
he's checking with
basically
his-
thought any player that was like insanely talented and good was clearly cheating.
cheats to see if the guy's been boosted.
Fueled by the desire to unearth even more incriminating evidence, people started scrutinizing Sub Rosa's clips like never before. Eventually, spectators started to take notice of the fact that Rosa's aim was, admittedly, kind of weird. A quick study of his POV revealed frantic, seemingly prescient flicks that often resulted in his crosshair flying.
Okay, to be fair, I do that a lot too. To be fair, I do that a lot too. If you're a low sense player and you like have very whippy, flicky aim, that's part of the reason why I get accused of cheating a lot. And especially because when I'm holding angles and stuff, I just flick my mouse around to keep the hand muscles in my hand loose. By the way, I'm done with the flash warm up. All right. So that like I can relate to why he does those things with his mouse, because I do something very similar. All right. DM. One or two DMs with the Guardian. Good.
The way of an enemy player model through a wall on land.
When I first started playing CS and like just FPS game in general, and like people watched and like all that, I was always, like you said, the low sense kind of guy, and I used my arm. A lot of people will use wrist for the micro movements, but for me it was always arm, and it was the thing where like I wanted to always impress people, so I was like flick everywhere. So when I first went to CS tournaments and CS Pro and CS teams, I would have that aim stuff like, yo, look at my aim, like I'm flicking everywhere and it's like working, and I say wow, and then sometimes I'll hit the craziest shot, and sometimes I'll always like whiff.
Yeah, that's me.
For a second.
It's literally me.
This is my best Sub Rosa.
I'm not that
impression.
shaky. I'm not that
And
shaky.
then when we went to that Northern Arena night, I remember I was like warming up on aimbots, and like I remember like people watching me and like being like, what the f, like how does he do that? How does he do that and shit like that? So I was like thinking like, yeah, it's like working, like yeah,
it's working
kind of thing. But it was not consistent. Like looking back at it now that I have more experience and I'm like a little smarter in the game, the aim style is definitely not consistent. Like it's bad to just flick around everywhere like a 16-year-old kid that's just trying to hit heads. It's really bad. Like obviously relying on crosshair placements.
What do you mean by that?
Consistent.
Now, as much as we all love Counter-Strike, there's no denying the fact that it has something of a fraught and indeed ugly history when it comes to cheating. From the Wild West that was 1.6 to the infamous vacaning in the early days of Global Offensive, a hysteria surrounding sketchy clips has encircled the franchise for much of its existence. And Sub Rosa found himself in the eye of that very storm.
You don't hack in matches, you don't hack in ranked. Where do you?
Oh, let's get it.
Time to take these arms for a spin.
Fight!
I'm ready.
Flicky is the equivalent of eco lifting. I don't know if I would make that comparison. Dude, are you just seriously gonna hide? I hate it when people do that in Day Young, where they just hide and wait for you to die to someone else. Like, don't you want to practice, bro? Like, I understand if they're trying to like change up their timing, but like if you're waiting for like 5 to 8 seconds, no, you're not trying to change up your timing. You're hoping that they die to someone else. Where is everyone? Hello? Hello? What are you doing? That wall's wall bangable, idiot. Yeah, right. Dude, what? Wait, what elo are these players? These guys are bad. Like, holy moly, dude. It's always to the point where these guys aren't even very good practice. Might as well be fighting with bots in the range. The only benefit here is that I could practice the angles on the map. What is he doing? Come back with the Guardian. Guardian 1v1 me. Pussy. Hold up. Try again. No! Oh, I see how it is. Okay, so that's how you want it to go down. Yeah, right. Try it again.
You're nothing.
Ah! The people jump on this. So. As if, buddy. There's some people who like think that like they play DM and just do that, and they think it's funny that people can't hit their shots, but it's because they play against such bad people that like that works. But then you go against someone who like can actually aim, and I'm like, okay, how do you have fun? Like, how is it fun for you to just run around and die like that, like instantly? I don't know. It makes me mad that people would spend their time that way. Not gonna lie. Okay, thank you. Yeah, right. Again, people, they get away with that against bad players, and then they think they can get away with that against me. Fuck no. Sit you the fuck down every time, kid.
Silva's dead. Hurry up! Make it 4!
Come on, where's my 5th? Where's my 5th? No!
10 kills remaining.
Stop sitting in corners. Like what? How is this guy having fun? Like what? I don't get it. Like these people just like enjoy wasting their time. Like where's the fun in what they're doing? Just very confused. Like, it's really hard for me to believe that those are real people. They're like who like actively chose that, okay, this is how I want to spend my Saturday.
5 kills remaining.
Just like jumping up and down in a DM and letting people kill me. Imagine having all the choices in the world of what to do today and you chose to literally be the exact same as an AI bot that just jumps up and down. I like that, Roast. You chose to be an AI bot. Yeah, exactly. All the things you could have done
Match
today.
found.
Wow. Your life must be really good. Yeah, I mean, in that way, they're even worse than an AI bot. Because there are plenty of AI bots in Deathmatch, and they shoot back.
Deathmatch. Warm up.
Like the bots that like people put in DM to like auto level accounts for them, they shoot back. You could always spot them because they usually have a judge. Because to like trick the system into not thinking they're a bot, they have to do some damage, right? So the bot is just programmed to just like the moment it sees someone, crouch and start shooting with a judge. And every now and then some of the pellets will land, so they're doing damage.
We're here because we're the best.
So like in that way, the AI bots are actually a bit stronger than the people who decide to just jump around. Like I'd understand if the jumping around people were trying to do like a movement warm up, so like they're going to corners and like doing their best to like practice their jump peaks. Like I get that, but they're not. They're just running across angles jumping. Like, wow. You really know how to spend a Saturday, bro.
Next.
Dominating.
Like if that is what's fun for them, like honestly, like normally I'm not the kind of person who's like, wow, the way the way you have fun is dumb, because it's like, because some people are like that for gaming, like, wow, you have fun just sitting on a computer all day. Normally I'm not like that, but like usually you can like generally like see their point of view, like how someone can have fun like making a basket or doing art or like things that I wouldn't normally like enjoy doing. I genuinely don't understand why someone would just run around to the DM, jumping up and down and letting people shoot them. Like, at that point, like, I've actually lost respect for you as a person. It's like, if this is what you, like, if this is how you spend your time, then, like, you surely have nothing going on. I don't know. I've been ranting about it for a while, but those people like genuinely like disturb me. It disturbs me that those are real people who can like vote and stuff.
One down.
Like those are people who I have to live in a society with. Unfortunate. We really do live in a society.
Jets grounded.
Oh my god. I tensed up my arm so I can make the micro adjustment. I'm practicing like AD spamming while shooting. Definitely a useful skill to have. Because I have to wait between the recoil, the shots for recoil for the Guardian anyways. So might as well be strafing during that time.
Funny thing is, if you hit the shot, they won't say shit, but if they meet someone who just trading, type in ultra.
Yeah, that's why I mute in deathmatch. Anyone who types in deathmatch is cringe and is, like, honestly bad at the game. Like, it's the #1 way to see that someone's trash is, like, if they say anything in all chat during DM.
10 kills remaining.
Like, that instant flag as Iron player. Or below Iron, like, straight up like they just installed the game. It also kind of marks you as a Call of Duty player, not gonna lie. The lowest level of shooter player. I respect Fortnite players more than I respect Call of Duty players. No in between, good luck, have fun? Nope. To me, these guys are just practice bots. And I feel like to anyone who's like decent at the game, it should be the same. They might as well just be range bots for me. Okay, bro. I just kind of like tweaked my wrist a bit. I also have no respect for anyone who closes the door on these maps. Like, is it your goal to take fights? Alright, let's go. Wait, are there any good Guardian skins? I don't feel like there are. I can't think of a single one that is like S tier. Like an S tier skin. Like, okay. Okay, this one's alright. I have this one, it's eh. This one's okay. This one I hate because when this is on the freaking ground, it looks like a phantom. And I always pick it up and I'm like, why the fuck do I? Nope, goodbye. Hey, people who run away from a gunfight, that too. The only acceptable excuse there. The only acceptable excuse there is if someone behind them starts shooting and they disengage from your gunfight to take the other gunfight. That is the only acceptable excuse. Yeah, ain't no. What do you mean, ain't no way? Why the fuck would I play if I'm not getting to play Reyna? Like, I would, if I played someone else, I would be literally trolling. And by the way, I was literally trolling anyways because Fracture is a dodge map for me. I should be dodging. What? Did I get reported for cheating? In my deathmatch? Was it because I was flicking like that? So it's suspended while they review my account? So it's suspended while they review my account? Because it doesn't say I'm banned. I'm not banned. It's just suspended. I told you people think I cheat because I do that. It is literally, this is prejudice against low sense players. Oh, now I gotta email them. Wait, it's 24 hours? Oh wait, no, it said I made a community violation. Wait, what was my violation? Alright. I need to email right. Dude, that was the account I was gonna climb on today. So I have to wait 24 hours? Yeah, wait, I wasn't banned for cheating because it was only 24 hours. But I think the 24-hour ban is so that they have time to review the account. So I need to talk to somebody. Because I play with a hand cam and the keyboard thing. You can see what I'm freaking doing. Like, like, I mean, I could just send them the VOD. Unless I got banned for smurfing. No, there's no way. I'm not smurfing. That's a higher elo than that's like my highest ranked account. So I'm not freaking smurfing. So it can't be that. Alright, hold up. Gotta freaking go to Riot support and explain that I'm not fucking cheating, dude. Dude, I told you DM players are cringe. Deathmatch players are cringe, dude. I got reported for cheating because I was Guardian only and flicking. Support. They can't ban you for certain. Yeah, so like that's the only thing I could think of. Is I was flicking around in DM, and remember when I said those players were bad? I promise you, like, and I smurf all the time, so I get called a cheater all the time, and like, if you're new to the game, and I've said this on stream a million times, if you're new to the game, and you play against someone who is like a top leaderboard player, it feels like they are cheating. And it feels like there's nothing they could do. When in fact, it's just a lot of tiny things that they're doing correctly that add up into a huge advantage. And so that's probably like some new player who saw me just like destroying people with the Guardian and DM, and I got fucking reported. And now they're taking 24 hours to review my account. Dude. Discuss personal suspension or restriction. Yeah, that's what I want. You must be logged in, okay? Dude. Do you know what's really fucked too? And what I'm scared of? Remember how earlier today I was talking about my other account that got hacked and then banned for cheating? I'm worried that since that account is linked to me too, they're going to use that as an excuse to permaban this account. And I like the skins on this account. I just got the new knife on this account. Wait, could they ban me for dodging a lot? Because I just dodged a game and then I got banned. All right, subject line. All right, let's fill this out together. All right. Subject line. I got suspended for what? That's what I'm gonna put. I got suspended for what? Do y'all think I cheat? I think that's a pretty good way. Pretty good subject line. No, I think like I don't want to lead them in that direction anyways. First I gotta figure out what it might not even be what I'm thinking. My Riot ID. This is it, right? It's my in-game name in League of Legends. Description. I just got a 24. I wonder if it's also because I use a VPN. if they think that like I bought the account, but all right, to be fair, I did buy this account to run from unranked, so I did buy this account. But I also use a VPN. So like, how would they even like know that? Oh, it's hardware ID. Shit. Dude, who has the time to level up an account to 20? Yeah. It was a 1-day ban, right? So 1 to 7 days. No, I didn't talk. I got banned after the deathmatch. So I should attach the VOD, right? Let me I don't know if my VOD is being published right now on Twitch. Let's see. That was yesterday's. So I need to hold on, I need to stop this